Well, welcome. I'm super excited to be here. Unfortunately, my colleague, my partner in crime, Donna, is homesick. So she decided not to share all her bad germs and she is taking some rest. So remember, rest up is important. So sadly, she's not here and I will be doing this solo. For all of you who don't know who I am, my name is Kelly McElligott. I work for ByWater. I've been working for ByWater for over 5 years. Prior to that, I was a public librarian who also used Koha, and ByWater was my support company. So I was doing the math last night. It was hard math after a night with the Brits. And no, you shouldn't try to compete with them. I've officially been using Koha for 10 years. So I started, I know that's pretty impressive. I was in the 3s back in the day. When I moved, so I was a public librarian. I started as tech services, all those catalogers out there. And then I moved into systems. And unfortunately, my library is way smaller than most of yours, a town of 4,000. So a little bit different issues there than 64 branches or whatever that y'all have. But I do want to, first of all, before I get into my presentation, I want to say congratulations to everyone. This is your first Koha conference. This is a huge step for anyone who's coming for the first time because it's a great opportunity to see what Koha can do. I mean, Jason just showed us this amazing thing to say, look what I can do because it's so customizable. When I learned Koha, I wasn't told, hey, by the way, did you know this is open source? Because I think open source was scary to people. So you didn't talk about it. But we should be super excited to use open source because we're seeing how everyone can use it differently. Small libraries, big libraries, academics, multi-branch consortium. So great job for coming if this is your first time. And for all those presenting, thank you for giving your time to do that because I think we all need to learn every day. So here we are, we're learning. So when I first went to ByWater, I was an educator, and I'm sad to say there is not one person in this room that I actually trained in the 4 years I was an educator, right? Nobody, right? And that's sad to me. I was like, oh, I don't know anybody. But as an educator, and still to this day, I feel like my mission and responsibility is to share everything I can about Koha. Monday Minutes, we're weekly. We, make it a mission to get that out to you all because we think it's important for people to continue to learn. This presentation is going to cover plugins. Now, when I worked in my public library, did I know what a plugin was? Did I understand anything about those weird words? Plugin. I mean, who knew? I actually didn't even know what Koha meant back then. It's sad. I know. But the more you know, the better you're going to be at something. So even if this is something you're never going to do, you now know what is available out there or some of the things that are available. I know, boring. Kelly, get on to the presentation. But I think another purpose for this presentation, and I promise I'll get to it, but I have a whole hour with y'all. So let me tell you, you're here. Another purpose for this presentation is to, give everybody the opportunity and encourage you all to explore the system you're using. Just play around. I know that koha-US has a test site. ByWater has a test site. Anyone can go in there and just play around and try what Jason did with the course reserves. Just play around with it. So, and give the opportunity maybe for the colleagues that weren't able to come to help them or encourage them or share what you learned at this conference. I'm super privileged to work with Koha, to work for ByWater because we love working with libraries. And I hope you enjoy this. And I'm really sad I don't have Donna. It's really sad. Okay. So there's Donna. Oh, and I came all the way from Maine, but I guess I didn't win the prize, right? And there I am. So today, we're going to cover plugins, what they are, where do you find them, and how to use them, upload them, yada, yada, yada. Super, super exciting. So what the heck is a plugin? Now, Barbara and somebody else talked about plugins already today. Oh, Jason. And I'm like, man, they're stealing my thunder. So Barbara talked all about the cover flow plugin. So you know that. Jason talked about a plugin I had no idea existed. So that's really awesome. But it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to expand Koha in a different way. So it's not built into the code. It's something you're going to install in your system, and I'll show you that. I'm actually going to go live into Koha. But before we talk about it, Nick, my colleague over there, he doesn't remember writing this blog post, but there is a blog post out there that said, you know, to plug or not to plug, I think was the title, about plugins and the pros and cons. So I want to talk to you just a little bit about that because it's important to know the pros and cons. A pro to a plugin: rapid development. So they can constantly change it and upgrade it. Like, it doesn't have to wait till the next release. It's going to be able to be fixed and in. Think about the pandemic. Curbside plugin. I mean, that happened overnight, I feel like. Did anyone work on that in this room? Wow. Well, anyways, it was awesome for a lot of libraries to be able to like get that functionality into Koha without waiting for a release, without waiting for an upgrade. They just got it in there. So rapid development. It's customizable. So we can certainly customize it to a specific library's needs or specific vendors. So do you know if anybody here is using a plugin at your library? Yes, yes, yes. Shout it out. Shout it out. What are you using? Coverflow? Yeah. Michael? What is it? Hoopla? Overdrive? PayPal? See? Woo! You guys know this and you're awake. Yes. So PayPal is a great example. So it's a vendor specific plugin because PayPal is a specific vendor. Hoopla, same thing. So we customize it and create it. We, not me. I'm using the royal we, I guess. And then expandable. There are, I'm going to use words I don't know. I'm just going to use Nick's words. Plugin hooks found throughout Koha that will allow these plugins to activate during certain workflows. So it's expandable. There's lots of hooks in Koha and we can hook it in. Super fun. I don't even know what that meant, but that's what he wrote. Cons, maintenance. We have to keep up with it. So with every upgrade, we have to make sure it's still working. And that means the developer is usually the one responsible for that plugin. Scope. Usually we're tackling problems that are specific to a library, and they are narrow sometimes in scope. They're not really seeing the whole picture of what maybe other libraries need. And then reliability. This is a sad one. There could be bad code out there, bad plugins or plugins that don't work in the current versions. So reliability is kind of important to think about where you're getting your plugins, how you feel about the plugins. But then this is where I'm going to get back on my soapbox. Talk to the community. Reach out in the listserv or go to a SIG meeting and just say, hey, I saw this plugin. Has anyone used it? Or try it on the test site. That's a great opportunity, again, to use a test site or Deadbox or whatever you've got to try it out. So just know that. So we're going to go real in a minute, but a lot of the plugins are found on GitHub. I'm going to I put a few up here. ByWater has some. There's other places like PTFS Europe who's here. TK, I can't remember how to pronounce it. Teke Solutions. And then in Libro, Caroline's in the back. So she also is some of the plugins we're going to talk about today. And that little cat's super cute, doesn't it relate to everybody here? So the first step, once you find these plugins that you are like, hey, this sounds really interesting, and we're going to talk about lots today. First, you got to upload it. So you're going to grab that file, it's usually a KPZ file, and download it to your computer and then upload it into your Koha system. Has anyone done that? I'm sure. Gentleman over here. Yep. Somebody was nodding. Yep. Good, good, good. Great job. Great job. I think some people are nervous about doing something like that. If you have permissions in Koha to be able to see the plugins, they are going to live in your administration. So here's a nice screenshot, which you probably can't see in the back, where you can see the plugins that are on your system once they're uploaded. The most important pieces of this kind of screenshot are the enabled and disabled. What's actually turned on in your system. So you can see I have this scan barcode prefixer that's disabled. It's not really currently running or configured on my site. The other really important part, well, there are two. The other really important part is the action. That's where you're going to run it or configure it, and we'll talk about that. And then, of course, the author of the plugin is nicely, proudly put on there too, which I like. Oh, let's pause here for a second. I hope I don't go too deep. I'm really sorry. You know, if you decide to put in a plugin and then you don't touch it for a while and you get upgraded 100 times or 3 times or 1 time, and you're like, oh, I don't know if it's working. You can see the version of the plugin you have and then see what the newest version is. Because remember, we talked about one of the pros is rapid development. So they're constantly changing. If PayPal decides to do something different, that plugin will have to be adjusted and a new release will go out. Everyone's following me, right? Awesome. So I'm gonna talk about a few and then we're gonna go in, but I'm not gonna talk too long about this one because Barbara did a great presentation on the CoverFlow plugin. So if anyone's not using that, please, please, please go to Barbara's site. It's beautiful, or lots of sites, OPACs, and see what you can do. It's pretty cool. Galadriel. Do you know if anyone is using Galadriel plugin in your library? Yes, yes, good, good. This is a way to customize your OPAC. And it's fantastic because you can tweak colors and fonts and hide things really easily. And we'll go into that one today. When Donna and I brainstormed for this presentation, I'm sending her good thoughts right now. Okay. You know, we talked about what are the most popular ones, as well as we're going to talk about some of the other obscure ones, but this is fun to talk about the ones that a lot of people use, or maybe people would really like to know exist out there. The Patron emailer. Anyone using the Patron emailer? Yes, good, 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 good. This will allow you to customize emails and send them from your Koha system. So outside of the notices and slips that currently live in Koha, you can create your own notices and send them out to a group of patrons like, hey, welcome to the library. The label maker. Anyone use the label maker? This is outside the tools module. This is a plugin. Y'all do spine labels also differently than what Koha created their spine labels to be. So this was created to further customize spine labels or any type of labels you're using. And for those libraries, I think there's a law library out there. Yep. Where you get a sheet of labels and there's like a spine label on 2 columns and then address ones. So that helps too. So another way you can create labels and print them from Koha is through this label maker. This is from one of the other TK, I think. I didn't even know this existed. Add URLs to Mark. So if you wanted to throw in a bunch of URLs to your existing records that aren't there, or you have to change them, this is one of those cool ones maybe you didn't know existed. And we'll look at this one. In Libro, This is a stat chart, really fun. It has like, I think pre-populated 10 reports, and you can run those reports and they'll give it to you visually as a chart. Yes, Koha does those already. Any report you have, you can create a chart, but these are already built, so super easy. I touched on this briefly, but there are third-party specific plugins. So they're designed because everyone does things differently. BroadArt for EDI ordering. I'm sure there's people out there who use EDI ordering. You know, BroadArt, Midwest Tape, Baker and Taylor, they all do a little differently. So those plugins can be super specific to the needs of that connection. So one of those third-party specific vendor plugins would be for e-commerce. So we have a PayPal plugin, we have a PayGov plugin, Invoice Cloud, and a Nelnet. And then EDI ordering, BroadArt. I don't even think they're all here. BroadArt, Findaway, Ingram, Midwest. So these, again, are vendor-specific plugins that you could use and configure. Anyone using EDI? Yeah, okay, good. How can we get plugins to be created or enhanced or improved? Or we got a great idea, like, I don't know, like a display plugin maybe. Is, you know, we're a part of a community, and that's the beauty of Koha, is we can make a difference. We can add things, we can improve those. If you just said, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great? And, you know, Jesse and I and Nick have a presentation on Friday, so please don't leave at 9 a.m. that we're going to talk more about community, but it's important to know that you have a voice. Everybody here has a voice in Koha, and you can file a ticket. For plugins, it's more like an issue. It's kind of an outside system. If you have if you're supported by a vendor, reach out to that vendor again, or go on IRC. If you're part of the ByWater Slack us, talk to it, or email the developer directly. No one's hiding. They love to make Koha better. I have the resources here. You can also scan the QR code if you wanted to at any point. That's going to bring you to a blog post that has all this information. Like, I've put all the blog posts that we've created at ByWater for plugins specifically, and all this is here too. So pretty cool if you want to grab that, or these will go out. Before I jump in live, does anyone have any questions at this point? Oh, good.
So I was wondering, back on the patron emailer, do you know on that, does that go through Koha's email system, or is it go through a local email system?
Liz says the Koha email server, and she'll talk about it to you privately later.
Okay. And also, do you know, are there video demos or tutorials of each of these plugins?
So this QR code is going to link you to all the blog posts that I could find that ByWater has created. If there is documentation on in Libros, their documentation is right on their website. So that website, their In Libro website is actually really good. That plugin directly link will bring you to all of them. You don't even have to go to GitHub, and there are resources for those plugins as well. It's unfortunate because sometimes I think the developers create this, as I talked about, you know, it's customizable to a specific library. They create this plugin, they upload this plugin, and it's for a specific library, but it's there. And they might have done documentation for somebody specific, but not shared it, which happens because they're ready to try something and develop something new. But, you know, please reach out to them, or, you know, play around with it. And I'm sure they would be happy if you shared documentation once you used it too. Any other questions? Thank you, Crispy. Okay. If I want to go to a browser, I just hit escape. Okay, thank you. Pause for 1 second. We need some like Jeopardy music. Thank you. Exactly what I wanted. I'm gonna make it. Oh. I am not a PC user, but how do I zoom in? I want to make this nice and big for y'all. Okay. So this is just a test site of ours. Oh, look at the plus up there. Talked about where they live. And the plugins live in the Koha administration. And since I'm really large, it's going to look really funny. And there's your plugins. Okay. Can I like scroll it? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we're not going to go through the cover flow because Barbara did a fantastic one. Oh, before we go any further, you have a search option here. You can search for existing plugins outside in GitHub. And I believe it's going to go to look for ByWater's PTFS Europe and one more place when you search. So you might not necessarily find it if it's something other than those 3 places. But if you search for one, you can see now my screen is slightly changed and I can actually see any of the plugins that are existing outside in GitHub. And I have that button that says install and it'll be bringing it right into my system. You can also see the version, so that's nice. I think I have this installed, but let's go ahead and run it again. Just so we can watch it happen. Okay.
Kelly, quick question.
Yeah.
Can you use that to also update the plugin?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. One of the challenges for me in this page is that we haven't, and I'm going to file a bug today. I've thought about it all week. It's kept me up at night. Is my list is quite long here. See? So for me to find something, there's no search your own plugins. You have to scroll the page. Don't you think that's a good bug? Like, why do I have to scroll? Right? Yeah. Look at Lucas right there. So I want to pop into the Galadriel OPAC theme because if you all haven't done this or looked at it, you should really take a look, do some tweaking. My action button has 3 options. Sometimes you'll have 4 options, like a run one, if you actually are running, making a thing happen. In this case, I just have configure, uninstall, and delete. There are, oh, let me scroll up a bit, sorry. Look at all the options up at the top. So I can alter the entire OPAC, like that main area, add a logo, give it height. Then I can adjust the top navigation bar, the search bar, this more searches, the login box, the breadcrumbs. Oh my Lord, how awesome is this? Like really, you can make all these changes yourself. I love it. This is my favorite, the search results. You know, what do you want to hide? What do you want to change? My favorite when I go down here is facets. Sometimes those facets don't make sense to folks when they're searching and those facets are on the left on the OPAC. What if you just hid one that you're like, does this even make sense? Does this help my patrons? Because it's all about them. So you could go in there and say, well, I'm going to just go ahead and hide the topics facet because I know my, you know, some of the things aren't cataloged as great as I'd like them to. And then when you hit the bottom, go keep on going, save, you go to your OPAC, it's done. Boom. Woo. Should we try it? Yes, Kelly. Kelly. Just kidding. Just kidding. Y'all have to like understand. It's been a day. Okay, ByWater. I'm not a good one-hander typer. I think I got it right. So here I am in the OPAC. Oh. Go ahead, search. I want to get some facets up on the left, and then we're going to hide one because that's how easy it is. So there's your facets. If you weren't sure what I was talking about and you thought I looked crazy, there they are. There's your topics. There's your places. You can see I'm a multi-tabber. And this mouse is just as bad as the trackpad. Okay, scroll down. What do you say? Topics. There we go. Click that. Now, I want to just pause for a second. Look at this. Unwanted, things I don't want to see. Awesome. Moving on. Save and exit, save and continue. If I want to make more changes, I don't want to pop out of the plugin. Save and exit, I'm going to pop out of the plugin. Save and continue. Woo. Dunsy doodles. Here we go. What do you think? Refresh that page. The power we all have just by this amazing plugin. There it is. It's gone. That's how you can do it. I know. I see shocked looks. Everyone is so impressed. I know. So again, probably not best to like just make a lot of changes on your OPAC in one go. Maybe write them down or do one at a time, or maybe on a test site just in case, because that's what I would do, or give it a shot, ask a question, reach out in, the listserv if you have any questions. This one I don't think is as well documented, Christopher, because it's constantly being changed by Lucas. He's making it like he'll get a ticket. Hey, can I do this on the OPAC? And he's like, wow, everyone probably wants to be able to do this. And then I add to it. So this used to be like 3 options in the Galadriel plugin, or maybe like 3 of these things. And now look at this. There's so many. One other thing, if you're not using this one, I really like this, is he added this like custom link text that will show up when you have online resources. So that's really awesome too. Again, making it very clear it's an online resource. Any questions about the Galadriel plugin? You're loving it, right? Oh, yeah. This is interactive today, y'all. I wish we had some chocolate though.
Yeah, I just had to get up and move around a little bit. But
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
So is that on right now in my thing? I can actually go in and do that right now.
Oh, I mean, if it's installed on your,
Yeah, I saw it. I logged in
Yeah.
right now.
it's there and
Okay.
configurable.
I'm gonna have so much fun with my boss when I get home.
The power, look at the power. Everyone's excited. Oh, good. We got YouTube.
There is one comment online that says, we need a t-shirt that says Koha Dunsy Doodles. And the response, one of the responses is the ByWater marketing team can make that t-shirt happen really fast.
on it. That's awesome. It's awesome. Well, I know Liz probably doesn't want me to show you the patron emailer. Okay, I'm moving on because I listen to my systems team. But there is a patron emailer, just saying. I'm going to use my breadcrumbs. I'm going to pop back over to the plugins page. Another one I wanted you guys to see, or y'all, sorry, is the label one. So let me scroll down again. Wouldn't it be great if we had that search button, actions? Again, we just have run, uninstall, or delete.
Disable,
Say what?
disable.
Disable. Did I disable? Thank you. There are some templates already created, which A is super nice. B, you can kind of figure out what to change if you need to change it, because it's kind of a little bit more apparent than if you just had one big blank box and you're like, what do you want me to put in here? But just like in the label creator in regular tools, you got templates and layouts and printer profiles. So it's the same process, which I really like, that we've kept the same terminology, the same functionality, and muscle memory is also here. So they didn't recreate the wheel at all. You got your templates and your layouts, so you can see all this pretty. If you know, what is this? Is this HTML? What is this considered? CSS. If I go ahead, just like, your regular batch, you're going to get the same thing. Once you configure this, and if anyone's ever configured labels in Koha regularly, it's not fun, right? But once it's done, you set it and forget it. Same thing, you pick your batch, you pick your labels, your layout, printer profile starting. So it's pretty great. I think it's going to look exactly like it did before. Look at that. I don't know what I changed in this one, if it doesn't do this in regular Koha. I can't remember.
I have a quick question, and I'm not even monitoring the ones online.
No.
Are those, it said Avery templates, are those preloaded into
Yeah.
the plugin?
Yep.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I believe it's one of the ones that is preloaded, and it's been a while, is there's one that has the 3 sizes. I think it's this one, basic. But yeah, there's 3 loaded. If I scroll down, sorry, you see? Yep, holy crap is right.
But then other templates can be added and created.
Exactly. So
and is there a repository is there possibly a repository of templates and layouts that have already been created?
ooh, that would be really good, like a wiki page to create for somebody to say, like, I created this, or a Mana database for that.
Yeah, either of those would be excellent.
Yep. So, the layout, there's a lot done for you. Like, you fill it out, just like you did in the tools, the label, gutters, width. It's helping you through this process. You don't have to do it all by scratch. Or again, like I would say, you would do it from what I saw in the previous page. I know you're all impressed, right? Super fun. Good. Okay, I'm gonna pop over to one other site. So I apologize for my typing. I'm gonna try to cheat the system here. I was in 2205. Now I'm in I think the current version. Jesse, could you unlock me from train 1? Okay, we'll go on to the next one anyways, until we come back to that one. We're gonna go and add a check URL one. Does that sound interesting to everybody? Like, throw some URLs into some bib records? Yes, awesome. Okay. I didn't find any documentation on this one. I feel like we talked about doing a Monday Minutes a couple weeks ago because we had Tomas, the creator of the plugin, and then just time. All I have to say is just time. Add URLs to mark records. I'm going to scroll over. Oh, I still don't have a configure. So what this, oh, bugger. I can't show it to you. I'm not on my computer. Okay. What this wants you to do is wants you to give a CSV file, bib number, URL. I think that's all you needed in the CSV file. And then you import that CSV. All you need is a bib number, URL, and get a report to do that. Get those bib numbers you need. Import it, run it, and it's going to add that URL right to the 856U. Pretty fantastic. Sorry, I forgot. I didn't have my computer, but it's really great. Am I all set? Really secure here, really secure. Okay. Back to plugins. I'm just in a different test site. This one I really liked. And again, I was just poking around in GitHub sites in Libro's website. Theirs is really cool. I'm going to go to this stat chart, which I talked about, how it can visually show you results. Has anyone seen this? No? First time? First time? Any of these data sets are already created. So you just have to click any of them and it's going to create the chart for you. Patrons per category, maybe. Let's go for that one. Generate. I mean, how cool is that? That's pretty, right? I know. Thank you. Well, I guess we could thank Libro back there. Thanks. And I think everyone should shout it from the rooftops, the developers, when they create these, because like they're just maybe was created for one library and now everyone can use it because we're an open source world. How exciting. Okay. Let's go back to my other site. I'm really sorry about the other one. There we go. I will put my contact slide up as well. If anybody wants to ask any questions, I'm happy to help anybody with this. And I would say that this would be great to donate to the community if you decide to try one of these and write some documentation up. You could be a guest star on Monday Minutes. Think about that. How awesome would that be? Okay. We are going to, I want to just pop into just like, if anyone knows, you know, or uses or thinks about using EDI or any vendor specific plugins. There's a configure one because we're not going to ever run it. All the information for these more vendor specific ones will pop into PayPal probably as well. I mean, this is pretty complex to me. I don't know about you all, but like all this is just needs to be received from your vendor and you fill it out and you run it away. But every one of these EDI or e-commerce ones are going to be specific for information you're getting from your other vendor, and you're going to import that. And Bob's your uncle. Where's Bob? Oh, I found another one. Forgot. So please play around with these. It's really fun. Change the due date. Did you all know this one? This was a plugin. Did you? You've used it? You use it? During COVID? Perfect. So another plugin. This was really great because, you know, we've been asked before, like, can I just, once it's checked out, can I change the due date? And you actually can't in Koha. You have to renew it or check it in and check it back out with a different due date. For this change, the return date, due date, you could have a couple different options. You could choose the category. So you could say for all my faculty or all my audiobooks or borrower number from this to this. I even tried just one single borrower number because I just needed to extend it for one person. And I just put that borrower number in. Perfect. And then new return date. And magic, it changes the due date. You know, again, use case scenario. Maybe this is not something you'd ever think you needed, but maybe we have a pandemic and we needed to do this. You know, that kind of thing. What? Yeah, well, we know how to handle it now. Okay. For those big libraries, maybe y'all haven't known this, we have a batch patron permission modifier. This allows you, and maybe the larger libraries are using this, or for larger libraries, you didn't know this existed. You can create templates and say, all my CERC patrons get these permissions, and you create a CERC template or patron. And then you assign those staff members to a patron list, and then you run it to say, so all my CERC staff, I throw it into a list, and then I say, use this template. And that's how easy it is. If you had 50 employees, you need to do permissions, you'd be better off, right? So here's your configure. These are my template patrons. So let's go ahead and open a new one, 893. I really don't like trackpads. This is my circ template. They're not really a person at all, but they have those permissions. So anyone associated with this list, and look at that. So I can actually see the people that have this circ permissions. This is my man, Harry. If I go into Harry's permissions, he's linked to that permission template. If I say, oh, I want to change Harry's permissions, guess what? I can't, because he's attached to this whole other thing. That's really actually awesome, I think. Then I can pop over there if I have the right permissions and change it, but then I'd be changing it for everybody. Has anyone seen this? Does this sound awesome? You've seen it? Yeah, good, good. And you, Bob, you use it? Yeah, perfect, perfect. Are you? Oh, that's awesome. I believe we have a blog post on that. If not, we can create one for you. Okay. How many more minutes do I have? Okay, I'm gonna do one more, and then we can have questions, because like y'all are awesome, but you probably like are sick of watching me walk around. Okay. The last one, I think we did a Monday Minutes on this one, is Report Plus plugin. So what if you had like a set of barcodes or ISBN? No, I can't do that one. Oh, you don't need it anymore? But could we pretend? Okay, we're going to pretend you need this, but I guess you don't need this. Why don't we need it anymore, Nick? Oh, he's talking about like a parameter. Shucks. Okay, let's just go back to the plugins and see what else fits our fancy. Okay. I don't like these okay. You see how I made my screen so big I can't get to my more menu. I hope you're learning something today. I hope you're all having a great day, because it's 100% super awesome we're here today. Oh, we can go to PayPal. It's kind of boring though. Actually, this is a pretty one. This one's like fancy. Got rid of all my CSS. PayPal, again, with the vendor specific plugins, you have things that PayPal wants. You're going to give your PayPal user a password, the charge description. This one is also documented, Christopher, just in case you're not using this or you are using this. You can assign a library. Now, remember, when you're using anything in Koha and it bothers you, like that list, that searching, please submit a bug. We'll be here Friday morning at 9 a.m. to talk about doing bugs. So don't worry, we'll be, Thursday? Oh, Thursday. Tomorrow. Okay. Let's see. One more. I cannot believe that one's obsolete now. Guess I should have talked to Nick before my presentation. I should have had Nick come with me on my presentation. Oh, that's right. He wasn't registered. Anyways, okay. That's really all I have. Oh, let me just check my notes. Oh, actually, Jesse, I wrote that. Tomorrow we are presenting in my notes. Tomorrow we are presenting on how to get involved in the Koha community. So this is just a teaser to what we'll talk about then, like filing a bug, talking to people about these plugins, documenting the plugins, or using them and sharing that information with your neighbor library or somebody else that you work with, because that's what it is, the power of open source and the community that we're in. So I hope y'all had a great time. Yes. If not, you'll see me again 2 more times. So here we go. Any questions? Please, please, please. Oh, oh, don't, no. It is. Yes. There is a room reservation plugin. Oh, sorry.
I forgot. Yeah, noticed the plugin that said room reservation. So I was asking if that was for like meeting rooms and stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. It is.
Will that allow us to put like our rules for using those rooms and like signups or anything like
There
that?
is some customizability. That's a really hard word for me to say, obviously, in the text above to say like, hey, or you could link out on that page to say, here are our rules. Sorry, I'm not putting this close to my mouth. Yes, there is a blog post on that and I can send it to you if you get me your information. I guess Nick has a question.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment that if you install a plugin from the screen here and do that, you will still need, unfortunately, to have plaque and memcache reset just to pick up that new code. Same goes for if you update a plugin this way, just to get that version and everything, you got to clear the cache out. So if you do that, please contact your vendor or your systems person to take care of it. That's all.
Nick, if they went right to GitHub, they wouldn't have to do that, right? If they downloaded it from GitHub? Oh, you still have to. Okay. Whenever you install a new plugin, restart all the things. Thanks, Nick.
There's a comment online. Somebody was curious about the EDS plugin.
Yep.
And while you're looking that up, I'll mention to Jessica that I did, Jessica's at one of my libraries and she asked the question about the room reservation plugin. And the reason we're not using it is because the last time I looked at it, there wasn't a way to configure it for 50 different libraries. It was one size fits all.
There are Koha connects with EDS. So if anyone's using the Ebsco discovery layer, that was what the question was, right? Okay. There are 2 ways to configure the Ebsco discovery layer on Koha. You can use their front facing catalog search and not use the Koha OPAC. But if you choose to use the Koha OPAC as the forward facing search functionality, then you would use this plugin. It is, again, where's my search? You're going to just get a lot of information, throw it in there. There is also a tutorial video on this one. There is just how it works. A lot, again, with these vendor specific, most of the stuff you're not going to know. You're going to ask your vendor, they're going to give you this information. And you can go ahead and use this as if you have EDS or thinking about getting EDS. So it does integrate.